This week we started into the book of First Peter. It's actually a letter, we call it a book, it's okay. But there's a few things we have to understand to help us see all the details and all the background that's going into this. First of all, it's written by the Apostle Peter. I mean, the Apostle Peter. The guy who went through ups and downs with Jesus, had the best of times and the worst of times. This is the apostle who was chosen first, along with his brother Andrew, by Jesus. This is the apostle who Jesus gave him the keys to the kingdom, which means you can now do some of your own teaching. You can tell us your thoughts on the Torah, where none of the rest of the apostles could do this. This is the guy who, one of three, who Paul calls the super apostles, who was taken up onto the mount, and they could see Elijah and they could see Moses, and they had to be in their presence. This is also the same guy who was rebuked by Jesus and called Satan because Peter was trying to protect Jesus, and therefore in that he tried stopping the ministry of Jesus, and Jesus was not having it. Peter is also actually the apostle who betrayed or turned his back, maybe hurt Jesus the most out of all the apostles. Now, it's very easy to get caught up in the fact that it's Judas. It's what is in all the movies. It's what all the things have told us. But when you look at it, Judas believed so desperately that Jesus was the Messiah, that all of the Old Testament believed was coming, that he tried making him take a step forward when he betrayed him. And he realized, oh, I messed things up. And he hurt. Whereas Peter absolutely turned his back on Jesus, said, I do not know him, I don't know anything about him, and actually cussed a little bit when he made the last statement and turned his back on his rabbi. Nothing hurt more than that. Then Jesus, being the loving person that he is, later on, in front of all the rest of the apostles, he asks Peter, do you love me? Now he uses two different Greek words there. Peter keeps saying, yes, I love you like a brother. Yes, I love you like a brother. And Jesus is asking him, do you love me sacrificially? And finally, Jesus said, okay, do you love me like a brother? And he reinstates Peter back in. Then we see, as they're organizing the church, they say, okay, James, you're the home headquarters in Jerusalem. You handle all the questions, theology, and everything else here. And then John, we're going to send you to Asia Minor, which is the busiest part of the known world at this point. And Paul jumps in there and they sort of double dip Asia Minor. What happened to Peter? It doesn't really tell us. We don't see what happens to Peter. But he shows up later on in his life when this group of people in these little side stream towns are hurting. They're at persecution at its absolute worst by the Roman government. And he wants to come in and he wants to reassure them. He wants to encourage them not to give up, not to give up today. You can quit tomorrow, but not today. And he writes this letter reminding people that our hope is in heaven. He comes to bring hope, that you have treasures that are more than gold and silver. They are praise and they are worship and they are faith. And they're actually stored in a place the Roman government can't even get to. So we're going to walk through the book of First Peter. We're going to keep looking and seeing what the apostle has to say, even though he wrote only two small letters and they stuck him in the back of the Bible with 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John and then right before Revelation. We're going to take a look at this. We're going to walk through this each week. You can join us on Sundays at 10 a.m. if you're in Greensboro, North Carolina, or you can keep following us right here.